Well, howdy friends, Brian Flechsig of Mad River Outfitters in the Midwest Fly Fishing Schools. And I want to take a few minutes today to talk a little bit further about tippet rings. In a couple of our Q&A sessions, there's been some questions about tippet rings. And I have answered those questions and told you that I do use tippet rings, but typically only for nymph leaders. Certainly I don't feel that they have a place in dry fly fishing at all, and I don't need them for streamer fishing. So the answer to the question, and again in the Q&A series, is yes, I do use tippet rings, but then there's been a bunch of follow-up questions, and we get a bunch of people here in the shop who are very confused at how to work with them. Okay, and I know this is really pretty simple, and for those of you that know this, I apologize. You can click through and go watch another video. But I just want to show you, for those of you that are new to tippet rings, how just a couple of tricks I've learned over the years on how to work with them. We sell a couple of brands of tippet rings here, the Angler's Image, and then we also sell the Rio. I really can't tell you the difference in the price other than, in the product other than the price. Some folks like the Rio because they say Rio. I just don't know that there's really any difference. I've always used these Angler's Image ones, and when you buy them, they come on a snap clip. You'll see that here. A lot of folks are confused. In fact, we get phone calls a lot. They say, hey, you sent me a snap clip instead of tippet rings. Well, if you look closely, the tippet rings are on the snap itself, okay? So what I do is I pull it out of the package and then just pull off the snap clip. And then I've got a little, in my little leader making wallet, I've got just a piece of backing, and I tie this in there so it doesn't get lost. Okay, so what I do to grab that tippet ring is I just use hemostats, okay? And any of your good old hemostats will work, although I can tell you that the Dr. Slick or whatever brand, the Spring Creek clamps, they call them, they have very fine points, call them, or very fine noses, and it tends to be able to grab this tippet ring a little bit better. So, of course, like butter, put on my click glasses, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this snap clip, okay, so that I can pull one of these off, and then you reach in with those hemostats and grab one of the tippet rings. And with these real fine points on these Spring Creek clamps, I can grab that, and you see I pull it right off. And then I've got them held securely in the nose of these hemostats. And now you're going to attach this to the butt section or midsection of your leader if you're building your own leaders, and then you're going to tie a piece of tippet on. And I do that just using a clinch knot, okay? So we pull off, let's say 4X tippet, and then that way you can easily thread it through. And I'm just going to tie a clinch knot, go around 5 times, of course, and then come through that loop. And I do moisten this, and I cinch it right down onto the tippet ring. And of course you would have done the same and tied this right to the midsection or the butt section of your nymph leader. And then I'm going to use my nippers to come in and trim that close. And bada book, bada bing, your tippet ring is on. Now, if you're using a packaged leader, okay, for example, there's really only a handful of packaged leaders that are really designed specifically for nymph fishing, and one of those is this Rio indicator nymph leader. And what I do is, you'll see it's got a bright butt section that's fairly stiff, which is what it should be for a nymph leader, so that you can kick over, strike indicator, and split shot. And then about halfway down this leader, it kind of collapses so that you get that nice floppy nymph presentation like you're looking for. So just depending on how much tippet you want to have, I believe there's a bunch of tippet, somewhere around 4 foot of tippet on this. So you can come in and find out where it starts to kind of taper, which is right there near the, where it makes the color transition. Right about in there. Yeah, that's about right. And then all you need to do is just trim that right there. And then I'll grab another tippet ring here. Oops, they fell off. Even when that happens, I can still reach in with the hemostats and just grab it, obviously leaving yourself enough room to tie the knot, and then squeeze those hemostats nice and tight. And there we go. Now I can attach that butt section. Again, just using a good old clinch knot. Thread it through. Tie my clinch, and I do like to moisten these, as you really should with all knots. But if you're not careful with this, you can really kind of mess up the mono. Come through, moisten it, and then I like to cinch that knot down. Kind of use my fingers to pull it down. That way you're not gumming up or kind of scarring the monofilament. So I've got that on, and you should have plenty of room. And come and find that piece of tippet, which should be right there, very close. There it is. Okay, this is the piece of tippet that I cut off the front end, and thread that through, tie your clinch knot, and off you go. If you need, of course, if you need a tutorial on how to tie this clinch knot, check right there. For those of you that have seen that video, or if you've seen some of the stuff we do, you know that I use clinch knots and not the improved clinch knots. Refer to that video right there. Moisten it. I'll use my thumbnail to kind of cinch it down, and then I'll come in with my nippers and trim that tag in. And now you've just taken a store-bought package leader. Again, if you're nymph fishing, consider these Rio indicator leaders, really specifically designed for high stick nymphing with a strike indicator and split shot. And then you can add that tippet ring, and it makes it real easy. This is in 3X. And now I've installed that tippet ring, and then that should keep this butt section fairly well intact. And all I'm ever going to do is add tippet out to the front end of that leader, and there you go. You shouldn't have to buy too many of these leaders, because now I've got a butt section with the tippet ring on the front. So there you go. Really, really pretty easy. But if you're trying to do this with your fingers and without a pair of sharp-nosed or skinny-nosed hemostats like the Dr. Slick Spring Creeks, it can be pretty frustrating, and you wind up losing these tippet rings. Even though I had a few fall off there, I can still reach down with these hemostats and pick that up and grab it, and then I cinch it tight. I clamp these hemostats down tight, and that should not go anywhere, and I can easily tie the clinch knots. So there you go, tippet rings. I like them for nymph leaders. And get yourself a pair of sharp-nosed hemostats, and tying that clinch knot on there will be really easy. And now you can add your tippet with a breeze, or just like butter. Thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned, subscribe to our channel, think of going to madriveroutfitters.com and sharing some love with us so we can continue to afford to do these videos. But regardless, we appreciate you being here. If you like this video, hit subscribe. It helps out a lot. And check out these videos. We think you might like them too.